A few years ago, my husband and I were doing our taxes. When we got to the place where you try to find all of the charitable contributions that you'd made throughout the year. And I remember this moment when we looked at the number, when we had tallied it all up, and we both thought, this has to be a mistake. There has to be more because the number was kind of embarrassingly small. It was a wake up call for us because we had money that we had intended on setting aside that year. Money that we wanted to invest in communities and organizations and causes that aligned with our values, that are doing the work of unleashing courageous love in so many different ways. And yet we just hadn't because, well, we hadn't made a plan. We had just became parents. There was a lot going on in the world. And so it kind of slipped our minds. And when we realized that, when we looked at that small number, both of us kind of felt gross. We felt gross because, well, we weren't walking in our integrity. Our values and our finances have invited us to make certain kinds of commitments to the world, and we have failed. Because we didn't have the finances, but because we didn't make a plan. Now, I read recently that 27% of people who attend a religious community that say to themselves, this is my religious community, don't have a plan to support that church financially. Which means that often they do so reactively. When things come up, they respond, and that's important and that's good. But having a plan often means that we can ensure that our values are actually being followed through. Because I'm sure I'm not the only one who's had that experience of realizing afterwards that they missed something really important. So after we finished our taxes, I looked at my husband and we both said, we need to get better at this. We need to make a plan. And so that's what we did. We got more intentional. Some of our donations the next year were spread out throughout the year in small recurring donations. Others of them were bigger donations spread out throughout the year to increase impact. And the next year when we were doing our taxes, I remember both of us looking at each other when we looked at the number and we said, we did better. Not only did we do better in terms of the amount of money we were donating, we both felt better. When I looked at the people and the organizations and the causes we were supporting, well, I saw foothills. I saw our community partners represented so much more diversely. Community partners like Homeward Alliance, like BIPOC Alliance, the Food Bank, all of the places that I know up close are doing the work of unleashing courageous love are now reflected in how we're supporting them financially. And that felt really good. Now, however you show up at Foothills, whether it's just listening to the podcast, coming on Sunday, being a part of a small group or a justice ministry, or maybe you're a community member who sees what we do and wants to support us in some way, I'm going to invite you this year to make a plan. To make a plan so at the end of the year, you can sit back and feel like you've truly given with gratitude, that you've found your place of integrity that aligns with your financial capacity. To live into your values of how you're called to invest in the world, investing in a way that invites love and courage to the table. Now you can make a plan by going to foothillsuu.org/courageouslove and sign up to be a courageous love activist. That will allow us to make a budget so that we can plan how to invest your investments in a way that's going to have the maximum impact for our mission. Now, I know what we can do when we come together is pretty extraordinary. Not only in the impact we can have on our lives, the people within our community and in Northern Colorado and beyond, but also in that feeling of knowing that you've been a part of something greater and that you've approached that with a deep integrity.